I'm always curious about how people get into what they love. What is was there a pivotal moment in your life? I know you talked about earlier you didn't see yourself going there, but there had to have been something that said, this is happening, or is it progressive? You know what I mean? That sort of thing. I'm always curious what led to this choice.
Yeah, so growing up, I had four younger brothers, and of course, wrestling was always on TV. And but I was a cheerleader, the dancer, and I didn't have time for wrestling. I was at the football games and stuff, and I actually couldn't stand wrestling. I mean, you always knew about like the Randy Macho because they're very evident. They're always on commercials and always being the popular wrestler. But it wasn't until I dated Eddie on a blind date that he had told me that he was a wrestler, and I was just like, oh, whatever. I really didn't. He was cute. I mean, he was just like this handsome guy that And let me give you a little secret. So in Clint, we had cowboys, and the haircut was very short off the collar, very strict dress code. And when I met Eddie for the first time, he had the long hair, tight jeans, and cowboy boots. And I was like, and the Mexican big, muscles and just cute features. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm dating a real rocker. Like I thought I have made my plateau in guys. And he wrestled, and it wasn't until maybe 3 or 4 years I started to respect the business, and I actually fell in love with it because his whole family was into wrestling, and his dad promoted in El Paso Coliseum. So to go to the shows and to see Eddie, train so much and to work as hard as he did, I started falling in love with the sport as well. And then when we got married, we moved with him to Mexico City so he could train. And wrestling just became a part of my life, which I started to learn about the sport and have respect. And to meet the family that's part of the wrestling industry was just, it's your second family. So I fell in love with them. And, actually, when I was dating Eddie, I thought, oh, I always had a crush on the Von Erichs. And I thought, this is my chance to get to meet the Von Erichs. And those are the guys I wanted to actually date. But it was really a big joke with Eddie because once I met them, I'm like, nah, I'll stick with you.
I love that. That is so funny. That's a
Yeah,
that's great. That's
yeah. I
hilarious.
mean, and just from Eddie and I were married for almost 15 years, and so to be a part of the family, so to speak, on the outside. I was behind the camera, Eddie was in front of it, and to see the struggles and the victories. And Eddie had a lot of things he struggled with drugs and alcohol, and so I was kind of the back scenes type, to take care of him with his job. And then when he passed away, um, I just became part of this family that they welcomed me into. And so it's a big story, and I'm really proud of it.
Wow, that's beautiful. Wow, what a great. That's amazing. I'm sorry to hear about. Obviously, him passing away. That's unfortunate for sure. I'm glad you're able to step in, and that sounds like a happy ending of sorts. Is that? I'm assuming. I'm from the restaurant industry for the most part, and I know that mental health issues, drugs, alcohol is a major part of my industry. I mean,
Mhm.
major part of the industry. Is that something? In fact, Tom, I think even touched on it a little bit as well. Like, I'm assuming that is, these are struggles, that wrestlers have to go through because there's just a lot of pressure on you, right? There's just a lot of variance
Yeah,
in your life, right? To deal with all of this.
absolutely. Because, when the guys, back in Eddie's time when he was going through Mexico, Japan, WCW, and then WWF, which turned into WWE, when the guys were injured, you really couldn't say anything because you would lose your spot, so to speak, on the show. And they would, send you home, or if there was surgery or if there was a long time to recover from an injury, the guys knew that that was going to be detrimental to their career because, the guys work to get on the card and to have this TV time. And when they're injured and they know that that means that they're going to lose their TV spot, they usually took care of their ailments through drugs and alcohol just to get them through the next show. And it was rather a respect to them, because I saw through Eddie's injuries, he would drink. And then, of course, the drugs ended up, getting worse, from going from, smoking marijuana to using opioids on a daily basis. And the amount of pills that he was taking, eventually led to him getting fired and through all his rehab. So that was something that the guys knew how to cope with or try to cope with because, their career was so important to them and they worked hard for it. And that was something that they were very serious about, and they weren't going to let some injury, delay them, to be on the next pay-per-view or the next international tour. And so, yeah, it was a rather, sad situation. And now today they have a lot of protocols, with wellness programs and, taking care of their mental health and, the cardiac aspect of it, make sure the guys' hearts are healthy. And so there's been some good positives through that movement, to take care of the guys. And now rehab is not such a quiet word anymore. They're through WWE and other, AEW, they're helping these guys, seek health, rehab and stuff. So now it's a welcome conversation, and it's not such a, elephant in the room anymore, which I'm really grateful for.
This seems like a problem that's in a lot of sports, right?
Absolutely. And, and through the wrestling, we've lost a lot of great, talents through guys, through drug abuse and injuries. So it's really sad that it took so many people to lose their lives before they started having some proactive, programs, to help the guys. And it's not a perfect world, and there's, people kind of hide things and, everyone's just trying to struggle just to get, their career in this industry, just like entertainment and, celebrities. It's everywhere. It's not just the wrestling industry. So it's a worldwide problem that I think people are starting to welcome with open arms and have more compassion for these people that are struggling with drugs and alcohol and mental health and, body image. I mean, there's so many things that now we're able to, with social media, you can actually make awareness and it's okay to be, talking about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's positive. I love it. Absolutely. I think, you got to be able to have the conversation, right, in order to get the solution. Otherwise, if we're shaming people or shunning people or canceling people out of here because of these things, it does us no good, right? We're not going to get anywhere. So I'm happy to hear that, these conversations are being had, and it's a lot easier because, again, a lot of this is a disease. I think a lot of this disease, you're dealing with pressures and stress and just high intensity stuff. And again, like you said, and you've got pain, so you're looking for something to relieve the pain, which is natural. And then all of a sudden it just becomes this whirlwind. That story has been told. So having the conversation, having the tough conversation is the only way forward, to be honest with you. So that's
absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's just, it's long overdue, but it's really sad back then, it wasn't, it was just such a quiet topic, but also working with women, in the industry, it's a very stressful time too, when they had to have this certain body image and, my daughter even had an eating disorder, because she was taught that this body image is supposed to be the Barbie, style and type. And we've broken a lot of barriers with that, through me being in the women's locker room and showing the public that, it's not just the Barbie type. You can be overweight and you can be an exceptional talent in our industry. And I think that's so important for women. And I love being part of the All Elite Wrestling roster because there's such a diverse palette of women. You have the skinny, the heavy, the demons, you have, the playboys, you have women that are just different body types and personalities. And I love that because it's just welcoming our fans to love someone in our locker room. They can connect with that certain person and feel accepted in our world.
That's awesome. Now that's powerful. That's actually making change. That's generational change. That's what I call it. Those are the types of things that you'll see influenced in other generations. That's awesome. That's great because that's reality, right? That's real body types. Like there's no, so crazy to me, right? That we're going to put in, right? But more for women. I mean, there's no question that women 1,000 times deal with that more than a man has to. But yeah, that just, I mean, that's not reality that, that we're all perfect and have the best figures and hourglass figures and this, that, and the other. So yeah, that's, it's just about being healthy, I think.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. That's just healthy. But what does that mean? That means a lot. Everybody's different. We're all completely different. So